I'd always listened to my brother, Harrison, ever since we were kids. But I secretly dated his sworn enemy for 3 years. Julian Sterling was notoriously wild in our circles. He seemed devoted only to me, yet he never wanted to make our relationship public. When his friends asked why, he laughed mockingly, because I don't love Scarlett Summers. Being with her is just to get back at her brother, Harrison, to avenge my sister, Autumn. So, on my birthday, I'm going to dump her hard, make both her and her brother a laughingstock. And so, I didn't show up at that highly anticipated birthday party. Instead, I traveled to Hong Kong for an arranged marriage. On my wedding day, Julian rushed over, disheveled, trying to crash the wedding, but he was stopped at the door. He pleaded desperately with security to let him in, claiming he was the bride's boyfriend. But scrolling through his phone, he couldn't find a single piece of evidence that we had ever been together. One, just to avenge your sister. Julian took a drag from his cigarette, his eyes cold. She felt humiliated after being rejected, heartbroken enough to go abroad, refusing even my confession of love. "Isn't that enough?" his friend exclaimed. "Jules, are you crazy? How can you be in love with your sister? We're not related by blood." Through the swirling smoke, Julian's expression blurred. Why can't I love her? But what did Scarlett Summers do wrong? It was her brother who rejected Autumn. What does it have to do with her? You can't take your anger out on her. Besides, you chased her for 2 years, and for the 3 years you've been together, you've doted on her, loved her. You two seemed so good together. I thought you were going to propose on your birthday. Silence lingered for a moment. As the cigarette burned down to the filter, Julian stubbed it out with a sneer. If I didn't make it look real, how could I make her fall for me? Only by letting her fall from the height of happiness into the abyss will she be utterly devastated. Feel the same pain my sister felt. I bit down hard on my trembling lip, my eyes stinging, close to tears. His friend frowned, a hint of regret in his voice. "Are you really going to do this?" "No regrets." Julian picked up his glass, his voice cold. "Absolutely none." I lowered my gaze. A flower petal drifted down, landing on the ground along with a single tear. No wonder he didn't want to go public these past 3 years. He already had someone else in his heart. What I thought was mutual love was just an elaborate trap he had designed. In that moment, I lost all desire to go upstairs and confront him. Confrontation, arguments, entanglement. Letting him see my pain, wouldn't that be exactly what he wanted? Turning away, I left the gift I had intended for him right there. When I got home, I ran into my brother, Harrison, who had just returned from a business trip to Hong Kong. "Why are your eyes so red?" he asked, concerned. I looked down, wiping them. "It's windy outside." Sitting on the living room sofa, he said, "I know you're going to Hong Kong for your PhD. So, how about reconsidering the Ashworth family from Hong Kong? Theodore Ashworth is a good man. Big Bro approved, you can trust him." He had mentioned the possibility of an arranged marriage a few times before. I had always refused. Because of Julian, because I wanted to fall in love freely. Marry the person I loved. But now, I didn't dare think that way anymore. Maybe there was more security in knowing someone's background. Even without love, at least there wouldn't be deceit or hurt. I could have more time to focus on my studies. Mom and Dad would be relieved too. I'd made up my mind. "Big Bro H, I agree to the marriage." "Really?" My brother sounded excited. "I'll tell the Ashworths right away." Back in my room, I packed up all the gifts Julian had given me over the years. As I was about to stash the boxes in the storage room, Harrison knocked. "Next Friday, we're going to Hong Kong." That day happened to be Julian's birthday. The next day, I spent my time at home organizing the documents I needed to take with me. Busy until the afternoon, Julian called, asking if I wanted him to pick me up to hang out. It was noisy on his end, with electronic announcements in the background, probably at the airport. When he heard me decline, there was a faint sigh of relief in his voice. "All right, then be good and eat properly at home. Don't try to lose weight, got it?" Such concern, such a convincing act. Later, one of Harrison's friends texted me, asking me to pick him up. My car was in the shop for maintenance, so I took Harrison's. Finding the room number, I gently pushed the door open, only to see Julian intimately embracing a girl, playing a game where they passed paper using only their mouths. His hands rested on her waist, a playful smile spreading across his lips. Wild and unrestrained. Cheers erupted around them. Kiss her, Julian pulled the paper away, frowning slightly. But the girl leaned forward, closing the distance, their lips almost touching. At that moment, he turned his head slightly, and our eyes met. Everyone's gaze shifted towards me. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes. I lowered my gaze. Sorry, I think I have the wrong room. I closed the door behind me. I had only taken a few steps when Julian dragged me into an empty private room. In the dim light, he trapped me, tilting my chin up. Jealous? I shook my head. It's not what you think, that's my sister. There's nothing going on, it was just a game. Come on, give your man a kiss, he chuckled, leaning in. Just as his lips were about to touch mine, I dodged. Wriggling free from his hold, I averted my eyes. My brother's waiting for me. The door was pushed open by the girl. She covered her mouth in surprise. Jules, you too? It was his sister with no blood relation, Autumn Sterling. Julian's gaze lingered on me for a few seconds before he walked over to her side, explaining, I drank too much, went into the wrong room. I don't know this lady well. Autumn smiled, linking her arm through his. Everyone's waiting for you. I didn't say anything, nor did I look at Julian. I just turned and walked away. As I passed him, he instinctively reached out to grab my hand, but stopped mid-air, clenching his hand into a fist. In the car, my tipsy brother turned into a chatterbox. He reminisced about everything from our childhood to when I went to Hong Kong for my master's 5 years ago. I'm sorry, Scarlett. I shouldn't have opposed you back then. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gone so far away and ignored everyone. Back then, Harrison insisted I study business so I could help him manage his company later. I wasn't interested and continued with my lab work instead, in a place where I knew no one, in an unfamiliar environment. Julian appeared. He understood me, knew me, supported me. I wanted to take that step towards him. But then I remembered how he and my brother had become sworn enemies over a project, so I politely turned him down. But he pursued me relentlessly for 2 years. No matter how cold I was, he always met me with a smile. Scarlett Summers, you're worth being loved like this, and you don't have to feel sorry for me. The one who falls first has to give more. I'm doing this willingly. Later, he saved my life, which finally made me take his hand. At the time, he said, for you, I'm not afraid even of death. Now, he said, if I didn't make it look real, how could I make her fall for me? My breath caught. Distracted for a moment, I drove the car onto the flower bed. Luckily, it was our own flower bed, and no one was hurt. Harrison hit his head, leaving a bluish bruise. He said earnestly, before you leave, maybe you shouldn't drive. I hung my head like a quail. Sorry, big bro H, I'll get it fixed for you. I took the car to the dealership. Thinking that as an apology, I might as well buy him a new one, just as I walked into the showroom. I heard Autumn Sterling's voice. It's okay, I can test drive even in high heels. She was sitting on the sofa. Julian was kneeling beside her, holding her ankle, carefully undoing the straps, like handling a precious treasure. His tone was caring but firm. No, you can't. What if you twist it, hurt yourself? After taking off her heels, he put flat shoes on her feet. I brought these for you when we left. Although Autumn grumbled, the smile couldn't be hidden. Jules, you really are a good little brother. Julian froze for a second, frowning slightly. I chuckled inwardly. He doesn't want to be your good little brother. You're so good, your girlfriend must be very happy. Autumn stood up, leaning on his shoulder for support. Julian remained kneeling, lost in thought. Then he took out his phone. The next second, my phone pinged. It was a message from him. Baby, I have a race tomorrow. Come, I have a surprise for you. 6 When I arrived at the racetrack, the race was about to start. Julian had arranged for me and Autumn to sit together. On the track, he wore a black motorcycle suit, his figure lean, muscles defined. He was the most dazzling presence. Averting my gaze, a hand reached out to me. Fancy meeting you again. I'm Autumn, Julian's sister. I looked down at her hand. The tattoo on her wrist looked strikingly familiar. Hello, Scarlett Summers. She smiled faintly, a hint of deeper meaning in her expression. Over the past few days, I had looked into her. The Sterlings' adopted daughter, 2 years older than Julian. When their parents were busy, they spent a lot of time together. It was natural for feelings to develop. However, she went abroad after high school graduation and only recently returned. Julian had picked her up from the airport that day. He had waited for the return of the person he loved, and I was preparing to start a new life. So hot screams pulled me back from my thoughts. Julian crossed the finish line, took off his helmet, put his index and middle fingers to his lips, and blew a kiss into the air. Autumn laughed. Childish. As if the kiss was meant for her. Holding up the trophy, he looked across the crowd towards where Autumn and I were sitting, his lips curling upwards. I love this summer, just like I love her. The crowd erupted, but I froze, looking down at the tattoo on Autumn's wrist. It was identical to Julian's. I had been with him when he got it, the day after he became my boyfriend. Back then, he caressed my hand, whining playfully, "I'm scared of pain, can you just stay here with me?" I pointed at the design he chose. "What does it mean?" "Forever love you." He pulled me onto his lap, tugging open his collar, raising an eyebrow. "Tattooed on my collarbone, so every time you kiss me, you'll see it when you look down." "No, don't," I blushed, quickly refusing. Julian laughed. "Then on the wrist, okay." I examined the design closely. It didn't look like English. He paused, his gaze drifting elsewhere. "Yeah, it's French. France, where Autumn studied abroad." I opened my phone, found a photo from today's race, and uploaded the string of letters to an image recognition app. Liar, that French phrase wasn't "forever love you" at all. It was "nul autre que toi," no one but you. Closing my eyes, a chill spread through my heart. Just then, Autumn spoke. He really kept his word about winning the trophy as a welcome-back gift for me. Backstage, amidst the noisy celebration, I discreetly checked the base of the trophy. The words "exclusively for Autumn" were engraved there, stinging my eyes. So this grand declaration was prepared for her, under the guise of a surprise for me. I smiled silently and slowly retreated from the crowd. 3 days left until I departed. Julian was busy trying to impress Autumn and barely contacted me. I didn't initiate contact either. Seeing that I had packed everything, Harrison wanted to cheer me up before I left. So he dragged me and his friends to watch a meteor shower. The hotel rooftop had a telescope, offering views of the Milky Way. As I stepped onto the rooftop, I saw Autumn and Julian. He stood behind her, arms loosely around her waist, both looking through the telescope at the starry sky. Harrison called me from behind, "Scarlett, come help your big bro play a couple rounds of cards." Just as he finished speaking, Julian abruptly turned around. I didn't look at his expression and slowly walked back down the stairs. I felt surprisingly calm. My phone kept vibrating, probably Julian. I ignored it and continued playing cards. Everyone had watched me grow up and treated me exceptionally well, chatting casually now and then. Harrison came back, after taking a call to relieve me. One of the older guys asked casually, "Is Scarlett really leaving?" Harrison nodded. "Don't mention it, I'm actually going to miss her." Just as he said that, there seemed to be the sound of a glass shattering outside the door. As I walked out of the room, Julian was standing at the doorway. Without a word, he grabbed me, pulling me downstairs and deep into the woods. Only when we were alone did he let go. "Leaving?" His voice was icy, his face terrifyingly grim. "Where are you going?" Not wanting any complications before I left, I brushed it off. "I got accepted into a PhD program. I'm going to continue my studies in Hong Kong." His clenched fist slowly relaxed, relieved. I thought, never mind, that's good. Ignoring his volatile mood, I turned. I need to get back to my brother. But he blocked my path, leading me forward. Through the woods, the view suddenly opened up. The clearing was adorned with countless fairy lights, twinkling, spelling out my initials in the center. "I was planning to bring you here tomorrow," he said. "Is it beautiful?" I quietly looked around. It was indeed romantically decorated. But I knew this romance wasn't originally intended for me. Julian took out paper and a pen from his bag. "This is a time capsule. You can write down your hopes for the future. We'll bury the capsule, and in 3 or 5 years, we'll dig it up and see if the wishes came true." I took the paper and pen, thinking. Julian turned his back to me, writing carefully, stroke by stroke. By the time he turned around, I had already put my note into the capsule. "So fast?" His handsome eyes gazed at me affectionately. "What did you write?" "You'll find out when the time comes." He didn't press further, wrapping his arms around my waist, murmuring, "Why don't you ask what I wrote?" "What did you write?" His kiss landed on my lips, a faint smile playing on them. "About you, about us." I covered my mouth, feeling nauseous. Julian thought I was moved. "Have you thought about our future?" I shook my head. His expression changed instantly. "You don't want to be with me forever?" I crouched down, burying the time capsule with a small shovel, saying casually, "Who knows what the future holds? We've been together for 3 years, our relationship is so stable, what's there not to be sure about? Julian, don't fool yourself with your own act." After burying the capsule, I stamped down the earth. He suddenly put his arm around my shoulder, pointing at the sky. "Look, the meteor shower is here." Looking up, meteors streaked across the sky, stars twinkling like diamonds. The night sky was vast. In the immense universe, we were so small. I remembered a saying, "When the sky grows dark enough, the stars will shine brightly." After leaving Julian behind, my own sky would brighten. A smile touched my lips. Just then, Julian took out his phone and snapped a picture. That day, he posted a vague status update. Camera turns, focusing on us in love, but there was no picture attached. I didn't expect Autumn Sterling to seek me out. She stirred her coffee, finally looking up after a moment. "I know about you and Julian." I remained silent, knowing she would continue. The way lovers look at each other, their body language, it's obvious at first glance. After a pause, she looked directly at me. "But he never shows your face in his posts, nor does he want to go public. Do you know why?" Beneath the table, my fingers clenched tightly. She smiled faintly. 5 years ago, I told him I might never learn how to love someone. He got angry and anxious, and ended up pursuing you. He chased you for 2 years and was about to give up, but then he confessed to you again because I told him I had a boyfriend that day. He did it deliberately to spite me. I suddenly remembered that day, New Year's Eve at Victoria Harbor. It was so crowded, a stampede almost occurred. It was Julian who braved the danger, going against the flow of people to pull me out of the crush. That night, a drunkard banged on my apartment door with a knife, terrifying me almost to the point of collapse. And Julian happened to be downstairs. He rushed up, chased the man away, injuring his own shoulder in the process. As I bandaged it, he was still comforting me through the pain. "It's okay, don't cry." In that moment, I heard my own heart beating faster. And so, I accepted his confession. So, he had used the suspension bridge effect, a calculated move to make me fall for him. He wasn't downstairs that day because he wanted to protect me, but because he was heartbroken hearing Autumn was with someone else. Pulling back the hazy veil, the truth lay bare before me. Even though I tried hard to suppress my emotions, my heart still throbbed with pain. He was with you for 3 years just to pressure me into breaking up with my boyfriend and compromising with him. Scarlett Summers, saying any more will only embarrass you further. Autumn took a sip of coffee, a confident smile on her face. "We're both smart people. You should know who truly matters most in Julian's heart. Instead of waiting to be dumped, why don't you take the initiative to leave, maintain some dignity for yourself?" My palms tightened, pain spreading through my body. My heart felt like it was being hammered, tearing apart, finally shattering into pieces. Forcing back the stinging pain, I managed a slight smile. "If you were really so confident about Julian, you wouldn't have come to me. The person you thought was yours seems to be slipping from your grasp. After pushing him away bit by bit, you can't stand being just the adopted daughter. Autumn, greedy people end up losing everything." Her hand trembled, spilling coffee. "Are you all right?" Julian hurried to her side, not even glancing at me, just checking her hand. "Sis, did you get burned?" Composing myself, I stood up. Julian suddenly grabbed my sleeve, an instinctive attempt to hold me back. Then, remembering our unfamiliar status, he quickly let go. Autumn softly reassured him, "Why are you so worried? I'm not a child anymore." Perhaps Julian's concern gave her confidence. After I had walked a few steps, she suddenly called out, "Scarlett, let's talk next time." As Julian turned his head to look at me, she slowly gave me a provocative smile. Leaving the coffee shop, I ducked into the restroom. My stomach churned violently, feeling incredibly nauseous. I dry heaved for a long time, only managing to squeeze out some physiological tears. Leaning heavily against the back of the door, I tried piece by piece to put my shattered heart back together. When I came out, Julian was there. He handed me the cup of ginger tea he was holding, his tone reproachful. "Drinking iced coffee again? You'll learn your lesson when your stomach hurts." After fastening my seatbelt, he pinched my cheek. "What did you two talk about? Why do you look so pale?" I looked deeply at him. "If you love Autumn, why did you have to get involved with me?" He wove a gentle net, step by step, trapping me securely, letting me drown in his tender affection. just waiting for the right moment to snare me and cast me into the deep sea. Then, like a victor, he'd watch me struggle, watch me break. But what did I do wrong? It felt like ants were gnawing at me, bit by bit. The frustration inside me snowballed, growing larger and larger. Finally, the suppressed emotions erupted. I turned sharply and clamped my hands around Julian's neck, wanting to strangle him. If he were dead, he couldn't lie anymore. He didn't struggle, just looked at me with reddened eyes, as if he'd rather die at my hands than see me upset, until the veins on his forehead bulged, until the scent of autumn clinging to him filled my nostrils. I abruptly snapped back to reality and released him. The next second, he hugged me tightly, his voice trembling. "Feel better now? What happened?" He held my face, gently wiping away the tears that had unknowingly fallen. "Don't cry. It hurts me to see you cry." I slowly stopped crying, looking away. "Julian, let's not go public." His expression froze, panic written all over his face. "Why?" "Because I'm breaking up with you. Scarlett, I love you. I want to introduce you to the whole world." He explained urgently, "I will definitely go public on my birthday. Please wait for me, okay? Wait for you to make me and my brother a laughingstock that day. I'm sorry you've been wronged all these years. Scarlett, trust me, I love you. But the Julian who loved me, how could he trample on my genuine feelings so cruelly?" That evening, I received a text from Autumn. "Love you. You didn't fall for that, did you? If I want him, he can only be my man." Attached was a photo of them lying in the same bed. 11 the day before I left, Julian repeatedly confirmed the birthday party schedule with me. "You have no idea how happy I am. But you're going to be disappointed. I won't be there tomorrow." He didn't notice my distraction, weaving his fingers through mine. "Baby, I have thought about our future." "I haven't." He lowered his gaze. "Started thinking about it 5 years ago when I first pursued you. So this truly was a long premeditated act of revenge. You were so cold back then. No matter how hard I chased you, you wouldn't budge." He spoke hoarsely, as if reminiscing. "So many guys were after you. Sometimes I was afraid you'd say yes to someone else and I'd lose my chance. Luckily, you saw me. Thank you for choosing me. Scarlett, I dream of marrying you. Julian, don't get so lost in the role that you deceive even yourself." For dinner, he insisted on cooking himself. I opened my phone, organizing the various recordings, photos, and other evidence from this period. He called me from the kitchen. "Scarlett, come taste this." Holding a ladle, his face wore an expectant smile. Before I could get up, his phone rang. When he came out, he had already untied his apron, his tone urgent. "My sister was in a car accident. I need to go check on her." As he was leaving, he turned back and stroked my cheek. "Can you eat alone?" "Yes." He leaned down, kissing my forehead, his eyes filled with affection. "Baby, you're being so good today. Of course, I have to be good. How else could I get rid of him to clean up my own traces?" After he left, I called housekeeping and had them throw away everything in the apartment that belonged to me. The cleaner was very thorough, not leaving even a single strand of hair behind. I felt a wave of relief. But then Autumn texted, "Just a small scrape on her hand, but he's incredibly worried. Is he like this with you too?" In the attached video, Julian was carefully applying medicine to her hand. Afraid of hurting her, he even blew on it gently. I chuckled. A little later, and that wound would have healed on its own. 12 returning from Julian's place, I gathered all the gifts he had given me and arranged for a courier to deliver them to his birthday party venue. He'd receive them tomorrow. We were leaving on a private jet at midnight. When the clock struck 10, Julian called, drunk, "Scarlett, I miss you so much." I handed my luggage to Harrison. "Take this for me first. I'll meet you after I take care of something." "What is it?" "Something unimportant but necessary to finish." Julian lay on the sofa, his eyelashes trembling in the dim light. As soon as I got close, he wrapped his arms around my waist, nuzzling against me like a puppy, mumbling, "Baby, darling." He rambled on, mostly about the surprises for tomorrow, how much he loved me, wanting to marry me. Still acting, even when drunk. I pulled my hand away, feeling nothing. Once he quieted down, I took his phone and unlocked it with his fingerprint. The moment I opened the photo album, I froze. Over 1,000 photos, and half of them were of Autumn. Especially during the 2 years he was pursuing me, he was constantly trying to get my attention, while simultaneously running off to fawn over Autumn, taking her to see maple leaves, watch sunsets, stroll through romantic French streets. He had captured so many photos of her back. Even the gifts I thought he had carefully chosen for me were things Autumn didn't like and casually passed on to me. I thought I would be angry, hurt, or furious, but surprisingly, I felt calm. I scrolled through them, recording the screen with my own phone. Then I found the only 3 photos we had together. The first one, when I agreed to be his girlfriend, he took a selfie with our cheeks pressed together, saying his wish had finally come true. The second, the first time he celebrated my birthday, I was making a wish over the cake. Close to midnight that day, he whistled below my window. I opened the window from the 2nd floor and saw him looking mischievous. We ran through the early summer midnight, making the first birthday wish. The third was from the last time we watched the meteor shower. He captured us under the stars, pulling me into his embrace. He said the person beside him was the one he loved most. Without hesitation, I hit delete, even clearing the trash bin. Opening his social media app, his pinned chat was Autumn. My chat window, however, was set to Do Not Disturb. Expressionless, I deleted the entire chat history. Now his phone was clean, without a single trace of my existence. I finally understood the advantage of a secret relationship. Even breaking up could be done without a sound. 13, as I was about to lock the screen, on impulse, I opened his notes app. It was filled, meticulously recording Autumn's preferences. 3 years ago, he had written a line, "I'm not content just being your brother, Autumn. Why can't you turn around and look at me? Since you're so heartless, I'll just get together with someone else." There was no willing devotion, no infatuated pursuit. I was just the second best choice, just a pawn in their emotional game. I took a picture and placed the phone back beside him. As I stood up to leave, Julian grabbed my wrist. "Scarlett, don't go." He was talking in his sleep. I pulled away. "Goodbye forever, Julian," he murmured. "Scarlett, marry me, okay?" I suddenly remembered our 3rd year together. I kept it from Harrison and went to Hong Kong with Julian. Victoria Harbor, fireworks blooming brilliantly. He held me, whispering words of love. "Scarlett, I really like you." So young then, so deeply in love then. I said, "Julian, swear to me. Swear you'll never deceive me, or I will definitely leave you." He cupped my face in his hands. "I cherish you, spoil you, there's no time for anything else. How could I possibly deceive you?" Such good acting. As I was leaving, I took one last look around Julian's apartment. Ensuring I hadn't left anything of mine behind, I closed the door. Then, I deleted all his contact information. 14, the moment I stepped onto the plane, it felt like all the emotions vanished with the roar of takeoff. Love, hate, just minor interludes in life. It really doesn't matter. Everyone loves the wrong person sometimes, cries for no reason, breaks down suddenly. But it doesn't stop us from watching the sunset or feeling the breeze. Ending a failed relationship is a required lesson on the path of growth. Everything will pass. Consider it gaining experience. I smiled, relieved. Turning to Harrison, before the marriage, I want to meet Theodore Ashworth alone. Actually, Mom and Dad suggested we meet long ago, but I was busy with studies and entangled with Julian all these years. I never considered it. 5 years ago, when I came to Hong Kong for my master's, I politely declined the Ashworths' offer to look after me. I wanted to learn to be independent. The last time I saw Theodore Ashworth was when I was 15. His family came back for ancestral worship, and we hung out for a summer. Then we lost touch. Harrison assured me he was a man of good character and wouldn't let me suffer after marriage. But since I agreed to the marriage, I felt I should be honest about my past relationship and tell him that my heart has rebuilt itself, the wounds have healed, that I've swept away unimportant people and will be loyal to the marriage. Of course, if he minded, that was fine too. Nothing was set in stone yet. After listening, Theodore's brow twitched slightly. His gaze rested quietly on me, a smile playing on his lips. "We're 27, Scarlett. Having dated before is perfectly normal." He continued, "Scarlett, there's no precedent for divorce in the Ashworth family. If the husband cheats or is unfaithful after marriage, the wife can confiscate all his assets." "Huh," he looked at me, his lips curling into a slight arc. "So, once you agree to marry me, you can't back out." My fingers curled inward. I met his gaze. "What if, after marrying me, you meet someone you really fall for?" Theodore's gentle voice held unwavering certainty. "Scarlett, there's no what if. In the future, until we grow old, until we die, I will only be devoted to you." My face felt hot. He smiled, stood up, and extended his hand towards me. "Well then, let's get reacquainted, Miss Scarlett Summers." 15 Scarlett Summers' phone still wasn't connecting. Julian looked agitated, his brow furrowed tightly. He took a sharp drag from his cigarette, glancing sideways at the meticulously prepared birthday party. He had commissioned a silhouette portrait of Scarlett, placed in the most prominent spot. She would see it the moment she arrived. Besides that, there were many other touches he had put thought into, creating a strong sense of ceremony. It was lively inside, but the person he wanted to see wasn't there. He had felt something was off when he woke up. Every year on his birthday, Scarlett would be the first to send a message right at midnight, or she'd sneak over to see him, even just for a glance. Her eyes would curve into crescents when she smiled. "It's my boyfriend's birthday, of course. I have to be the first to send wishes." But last night, Scarlett hadn't been with him, and this morning, no message from her either. He tried to find her contact info on his phone, but was overwhelmed by the flood of birthday messages. It completely derailed his train of thought. Julian reassured himself that perhaps she was already on her way. Time ticked by second. Scarlett still hadn't arrived. He grew increasingly restless, tugging at his tie. Suddenly, there was a noise outside the door. He immediately headed out, wanting to take her hand. But it was Autumn. "Why is it you?" He couldn't hide his disappointment. Autumn's smile froze, then she asked unwillingly, "Who were you expecting?" "Scarlett Summers." He only wanted Scarlett Summers. 16 lately, he felt Scarlett had been acting strangely. Before, whenever they met, she practically clung to him. They say physical attraction makes you want to be close to your partner constantly, always sticking together. But ever since Autumn returned, she had changed. She became quiet, silent. She wouldn't initiate intimacy either. Sometimes Julian looked at her and felt a vast distance between them. What was going on? He couldn't figure it out. But the one thing he was sure of was that he really wanted to go public. He remembered Scarlett crying sadly in his arms. His heart clenched with pain. He realized he didn't want her to feel wronged at all. He'd had nightmares multiple times, dreaming he embarrassed her at the birthday party. She looked lost, then broke down crying, asking him through gritted teeth why he would do that to her, what she had done wrong. His breathing grew rapid. He wanted to explain, but she looked at him coldly. "Julian, let's break up. You disgust me." He would wake up startled, his back drenched in sweat. He really was going to propose today. He even had the wedding dress ready. Hundreds of designers worked tirelessly for half a year to complete it. He laughed self-deprecatingly. If he truly wanted to humiliate her, why would he subconsciously prepare surprises, wanting to make her happy? Last night, after taking Autumn to the hospital, he was about to leave. Scarlett was waiting for him at home. Autumn stopped him. "Do you like Scarlett Summers?" He raised an eyebrow slightly. Autumn stood up. "Trying to hide it from me? I can tell." He suddenly smiled, so it was obvious he liked her. Did that mean Harrison Summers could tell too? Would that mean Harrison wouldn't object to Scarlett being with him anymore? He said, "Yeah, I love her." Autumn bit her lip. "Really?" Julian grinned, then seemed to remember something. "Sis, I'm sorry about before. I couldn't distinguish whether my feelings for you were familial love or romantic love. Of course, I'm also grateful you rejected me, allowing me to find the person I truly love." After saying that, he answered a call from a friend and left. He didn't notice the furious expression on Autumn's face behind him. He wasn't playing anymore. To hell with revenge. To hell with humiliation. He just wanted to be with Scarlett Summers. He wanted to propose, get married. She belonged only to him. Luckily, it wasn't too late. Luckily, Scarlett didn't know about his previous despicable plan and dark thoughts. No one would ever bring it up again. He saw his own heart clearly. He loved Scarlett Summers, even if he initially pursued her for revenge. But he had slowly fallen for her over these 3 years. He thought he would give Scarlett the happiest future to make up for the relationship's ugly beginning. So he couldn't resist finding her profile picture, only to discover their chat history was completely gone. His unease intensified. Julian panicked. He sent a message. Baby, then he saw the big red exclamation mark. Scarlett Summers had deleted him. 17, while Julian was being deleted, I was busy planning my wedding. Technically, Theodore and I should have gotten engaged first and slowly cultivated feelings. but both families took our birth charts to a master astrologer. He declared us a match made in heaven, fated for 3 lifetimes. After showering us with extravagant praise, he named an auspicious date, urging us to marry as soon as possible. I was rushed into it, trying on dozens of wedding dresses in one day. But strangely, every single one fit perfectly. I couldn't choose, Theodore smiled. Then let's keep them all, okay? They were all custom made for you anyway. Just then, the wedding planner was brought in by a servant. The topic shifted. By the time we finished looking through countless planning proposals and caught our breath, it was already afternoon. Theodore pulled me up from the sofa. All right, you can sleep later. Let's go get the marriage certificate first. So soon? He took my hand. The master astrologer calculated it. The marriage registration process in Hong Kong is different from the mainland. Led by a lawyer, we exchanged vows and rings. The rings were already prepared by Theodore and fit perfectly. After signing the marriage certificate, his 2 friends signed as witnesses. The seal landed firmly on the paper, and everyone started applauding. My large family and his equally numerous relatives squeezed together for a big group photo. The sense of ceremony was overwhelming. So this is what a relationship blessed by everyone feels like, being able to smile so happily. So this is what it feels like to walk openly in the sun with your partner. That night, I posted on my social media. Officially licensed comments flooded in immediately. Stop flexing. Sis, what certificate did you get now? Are you blind? Happy marriage, eternal love. It's a marriage certificate and it's from Hong Kong. Scarlett, you married someone so far away. Ah, my life is over, goddess. How could you get married? Who's the groom? I asked my mom. She said the news is currently under wraps, but my family already received the Summers invitation wedding next month. News of the marriage certificate quickly reached Julian's circle. His friend clicked on the picture, joking. So that's why you disappeared for so long, ran off to Hong Kong to get married with Scarlett Summers. Pretty romantic. Julian's hand holding the cigarette trembled. The red-hot ash burned his fingertip, but he didn't feel the pain. What did you say? He snatched the phone, staring intently at the screen. His knuckles turned white from gripping it so hard. His friend suddenly understood. Scarlett Summers isn't marrying you? Before he could finish, Julian had already left in a state of panic. 18, I was quite flustered myself. That evening, the Ashworth family hosted a banquet. Theodore held my hand, introducing me to relatives one by one. You know, the thing you dread most as a kid is being dragged around by your parents asking, "Do you know what to call them?" I was lost and clueless, clinging tightly to Theodore. Everyone in the Ashworth family was very kind. Each greeting came with a welcome gift, but there were so many people. Later, Theodore had to hold my waist tightly, letting me lean on him, taking most of the strain, just to get through all the introductions. Seeing the smiles on everyone's faces, I thought, this is good too, mutual respect. Isn't that what marriage is often like? After the passion fades, it becomes a long, steady flow. Both families approved. Theodore wouldn't deceive me, hurt me, or wrong me. I could continue my studies and research. After it ended, I collapsed onto the sofa, my eyes barely staying open. Theodore then brought out the list of betrothal gifts for me to review. As I looked, the small print started to blur and distort. I accidentally fell asleep just like that. So when Julian called, it was Theodore who answered my phone. 19, hearing a man's gentle voice on the line. Julian's mind went blank. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, his hands trembling. Who are you? Where's Scarlett Summers? Put her on the phone. Theodore wasn't actually as gentle as he appeared. He was incredibly possessive. But to ease Scarlett's concerns, afraid of scaring her or making her hesitate about the arranged marriage, he pretended it was just a family alliance. He had waited for so many years. He didn't want to wait anymore. So he wanted to get married immediately, leaving no opportunity for anyone else. He never told Scarlett that he had seen Julian before, more than once. When he heard Scarlett was coming to Hong Kong for her master's, he slept only a few hours a night, finished his work in New York, and rushed back. He was still a step too late. He went to her university with a gift, only to see her walking with a man, talking and laughing. He clenched his fists tightly, ultimately said nothing, and didn't approach. Many times later, when he went to see her, that man was always there, and the way she looked at him held a radiant glow. He had also flown to North City, hiding in the shadows to watch her. They never broke up, they seemed deeply in love. So Theodore smiled bitterly and left. He wished Scarlett happiness in his heart. He just didn't expect that waste of space wouldn't hold onto her hand tightly. Theodore rejoiced inwardly. Fate had circled back, bringing the person he loved right to him. So, in the gentlest tone, he spoke the words that pierced Julian's heart the most. Scarlett fell asleep in my arms. "Oh, allow me to introduce myself. I'm her legal husband. May I ask, who are you?" "I'm her boyfriend," Julian blurted out. He hadn't agreed to break up, so Scarlett was still his girlfriend. Theodore chuckled softly. "Apologies, but as far as I know, Scarlett doesn't have a boyfriend, only me, her husband." 20 Julian felt like he was going crazy. On his birthday, he waited alone until the crowd dispersed. Waited until he received the things Scarlett had sent him. Several large boxes filled with all the gifts he had given her. She didn't want them anymore. He called her number over and over, but it wouldn't connect. He waited until dawn. Sitting numbly on the floor, he finally understood. Scarlett didn't want him anymore either. But why? He couldn't figure it out. As he carried the boxes home, a piece of paper fell out. It read, "Julian, we're breaking up." Not a discussion, just a notification. He stumbled back home, belatedly realizing Scarlett had erased all traces of her existence. She was so ruthless, such a sweet, lovely girl. Why was she so decisive? Remembering something, he opened his phone, tapped on the photo album. The first thing he saw were photos of Autumn. He scrolled to the end, only then realizing Scarlett had deleted all their photos together. She had seen the photos of Autumn he saved. She had seen those notes. So, she must have misunderstood his relationship with Autumn. Julian remembered what Scarlett had said before. If she ever found out he lied to her, she would disappear completely. So she knew everything. So she proved with her actions that she meant what she said, giving him no chance to explain, sentencing their relationship to death. Julian desperately wanted to find Scarlett, but he searched all over North City. No one knew where she went. He habitually whistled a few times below her window. No one answered him. He waited until dawn, but that light stayed off for a very, very long time. He went to Hong Kong too, but found no clues. Over a month passed, yielding nothing. He suddenly remembered the time capsule they buried together on the mountain. Ignoring the pouring rain, he dug through the mud with his bare hands. The capsule was covered in dirt. He opened his own. It read, "May there be no years to look back on, only deep love to share until our hair turns white." Julian loves Scarlett Summers, morning and night. But Scarlett's capsule contained a blank piece of paper. She had never thought about their future. Julian could hardly believe his eyes. Clutching the paper tightly, tears streamed down his face. Without Scarlett, his days were a daze. When he heard the news of her marriage, it felt like a knife plunged into his chest. The pain almost made him collapse, especially after hearing another man answer her phone. His heart plummeted from a great height, shattering into pieces. He couldn't believe Scarlett had really married someone else. She must be angry with him, right? So he immediately booked a flight to Hong Kong. Hong Kong wasn't huge. Meeting someone by chance should be easy. But Hong Kong wasn't small either, especially if someone intentionally avoided him. He couldn't find even a single strand of Scarlett's hair. 21 Julian indeed couldn't find me. Theodore, afraid I'd get tired, hadn't let me step outside the Ashworth estate gates. He had deleted the record of that phone call, so I had no idea. During the wedding preparations, Theodore handled all the arrangements. Half a month passed, 3 days left until the wedding. The Ashworths flew my close friends over on a private jet. Theodore bustled about, taking care of everything perfectly. That evening, I asked him to head back first, wanting some private chat time with my friends. He agreed with an then arranged for snacks, drinks, and everything to be sent over. Everyone received different small gifts, but he gave me a separate, exquisitely packaged container. A message popped up on my phone from him. "Drink some warm bird's nest soup, be careful not to catch a cold." His actions always seemed thoughtful and just right, never annoying. My friends kept praising him. Knowing the groom is Theodore Ashworth, we feel relieved. Just during the flight here, we thoroughly checked him out for you. Good character, good family background, young and successful, and most importantly, he has a clean reputation. Their family motto is basically, happy wife, happy life. Anyway, our Scarlett will definitely be happy. Honestly, I'm quite looking forward to your marry first, love later story. You're wrong, sis. I think the way Theodore looks at Scarlett is different. And keeping the wedding so secret beforehand, maybe it was premeditated. We chatted noisily until midnight. When I came out of my friend's room, I saw a message from Theodore, saying he had been waiting downstairs the whole time, and to call him when I finished so he could take me home. Just as I replied, "I'm done," a hand grabbed me and pulled me towards the stairwell. It was Julian. 22, I never thought I'd run into him here. Like seeing the plague, I quickly shook off his hand and opened the door to run outside. But he grabbed me again, his grip too strong to break free from. He pinned me against the back of the door, gripping my arms tightly, complex emotions swirling in his eyes. Finally, he tilted my chin up and kissed me forcefully. I slammed the food container against him. "Are you insane?" My back pressed against the cold wall. Julian's gaze fell on the wedding ring on my ring finger. Clenching his jaw tightly, his voice was hoarse. "Scarlett Summers, are you doing this to spite me? Punishing me for not going public by getting some fake marriage certificate just to provoke me?" The audacity, I sneered. "I really am married." He closed his eyes, visibly struggling to control his emotions. "I don't believe you. I can explain my relationship with Autumn. It's not what you think. I've already made it clear to her, we'll just be brother and sister from now on. Come back to North City, Scarlett. Let's go public, okay?" Oh, so he thought I left just because of Autumn, because I was jealous. I laughed quietly, my eyes full of irony. "When you were with me, you thought about Autumn. I let you two be together, and now you come looking for me. Julian, you really are pathetic, only wanting what you can't have." His eyes shattered, trembling. "I like you, I only like you. Scarlett, I never said we broke up, so you're still my girlfriend?" I curled my lip. "Didn't you want a breakup? Fine, I'll tell you myself. Julian, you disgust me, we're breaking up. Is that clear enough?" 23 dream and reality overlapped. Julian's eyes instantly turned red, his face paling. "No breakup. We were together for 3 years. You liked me so much, how could you bear to break up with me?" I couldn't be bothered arguing with him and took a step away. "Think whatever you want, I'm already married." Julian hugged me tightly from behind, his voice choked with pleas. "Take the ring off, okay? I'll buy you a new one. I prepared a wedding dress for you. Can we go back and get married too?" I turned and slapped him across the face. "Don't touch me." He stood there blankly, at a loss, eyes red, almost crying. "I can't help it, Scarlett, I miss you so much. These past 2 months, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. All I see is your face when I close my eyes. What am I supposed to do without you?" Just as he reached out to hug me again, the corridor door suddenly opened. A gust of wind swept past, and Theodore punched him square in the face. After recovering, Julian started fighting back, but he was no match for Theodore. This was the first time I'd seen such an aggressive Theodore, shattering the gentle image I had of him. Julian was beaten until his lip bled, looking utterly wretched. As he got up to throw another punch, I stepped in front of Theodore. "That's enough, Julian." His fist stopped just inches from my face. I quickly turned to check on Theodore. "Does it hurt?" He nodded pitifully. "A little, might be internal injuries." "Then let's hurry home and find a doctor." Julian stared at me in disbelief, his eyes bloodshot. "You're protecting him? I'm the one who's hurt the most. Scarlett, you don't care about me anymore?" I retorted sarcastically. "He's my husband. Of course, I'll protect him. Who are you to me?" Theodore took the food container from my hand, naturally taking my hand as well, asking softly, "Finished eating?" I nodded. His lips curved slightly. "Then let's go home." "Okay," he added, "my whole body aches." I pulled him towards the exit. "Let's hurry back." Opening the door, I didn't spare Julian another glance. He stood there, utterly dejected. The dim light hid his expression. He muttered to himself, his voice barely audible, "Weren't you the one who always worried about me the most?" 2 days before the wedding. Theodore and I rehearsed the ceremony. That evening, after my friends left, we were strolling by the river. He went to buy me a hot drink. The moment he left, I turned around and saw Julian again. His forehead and lip had bandages, he looked haggard and worn out. Looks like Theodore really didn't hold back. He walked up to me, struggling to speak. "Scarlett, I've thought about it. Get a divorce." "Divorce, okay, I don't mind. I won't look down on you. I'll pretend this never happened. Forget everything in Hong Kong, let's start over." I felt like I'd heard the world's biggest joke. Unless I die, I will never divorce. He seemed not to hear, his tone becoming cautious. I really have nothing going on with Autumn. Why can't you just believe me? Scarlett, we've known each other for 5 years. How long have you known Theodore Ashworth? 2 months? Are 2 months enough for you to entrust your life to him? Why would you choose him over me? I cut him off. Because he won't lie to me. We were honest with each other, clarified everything. No deception, no schemes, no adopted sisters or whatever. Only the approval and blessings of our families. Even if he and I don't have deep feelings right now. So what? Life is long. Who can say what the future holds? Julian, I told you before if I discovered deceit, I would leave without hesitation. Stop harassing me. I'm never going back. He stared at me blankly, despair filling his eyes. I saw Theodore walking quickly towards us and ran to him first. He gently tucked my hair behind my ear, putting his arm around me and leading me towards the car. In my peripheral vision, Julian's bangs covered his eyes, his eyelids slightly red. 25 the day before the wedding, Theodore didn't let me go out again. We looked through his childhood photo albums in the study. I pointed at one picture, surprised. We took a photo together when I was that little. He stood behind me, enveloping me. Yeah, that year your mom was pregnant with you, my mom brought the family to visit. I was about 3 then. You were born right after we arrived. The adults took pictures and arranged our engagement. That early? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I was just an infant. Theodore smiled, turning the page. I came back before starting elementary school when I was 6. You were tiny then, like a little white puffball, holding my hand and calling me Big Brother. The photo captured the moment I leaned over and kissed his cheek. Looking at that picture, my face felt hot. When you were 12, you were obsessed with acting. You made me play the emperor and you were the princess. I couldn't help laughing. First brother, then father. Theodore, you've played many roles. He continued flipping through the album, joking. I came back once when I was 18. You were 15 then. You stopped making me act and made me play video games with you. Great, I became your buddy. I felt a bit embarrassed. I was really into games back then. My parents restricted me. Harrison wouldn't play with me, so I had to find you. That summer, I dragged Theodore to internet cafes for a month. After that, we never saw each other again. I was busy with high school and university. He was busy with studies and managing the family business. I thought the river of time would leave us stranded on opposite banks, but unexpectedly, fate tied us together again, even becoming family. How strange. I suddenly recalled what Julian said last night, asking why I dared to commit my life to Theodore after knowing him for only 2 months. Actually, that wasn't true. We had known each other for 27 years, longer than I had known Julian. I turned my head. Theodore's breath brushed against my ear, a hint of intimacy hanging in the air. I swallowed hard and quickly turned back. Theodore suddenly said, "Scarlett, thank you." For what? His eyes were gentle. "Thank you for marrying me." 26 on the wedding day, my palms were sweating nervously. Theodore held my hand the entire time, guiding me through every step. Under the officiant's guidance, we kissed, embraced, and exchanged vows of forever. After the main ceremony, I was so tired I could barely stand. He carried me to a small room to rest, whispering, "Sleep for a while." I held onto him. "Where are you going?" He squeezed my fingers. "I'll continue greeting the guests and clear out any obstacles." I murmured an "oh," leaned against the sofa, and quickly fell asleep. Meanwhile, the obstacle was outside the castle, attempting to crash the wedding. Julian was stopped at the entrance, desperately pleading with security to let him in, claiming he was the bride's boyfriend. Reporters nearby asked, "Ex-boyfriend?" "Then I advise you to give up handsome. The Ashworth family is prominent in Hong Kong. How can you compare to him? Stop dreaming, it's embarrassing." Julian explained eagerly, "Not ex-boyfriend, we never broke up." But scrolling through his phone, he couldn't find a single piece of evidence that he had ever been with Scarlett Summers. Laughter erupted from the crowd. "Dude, are you delusional? You don't even count as an ex. You're hilarious." Julian swayed, almost collapsing to his knees. Then he saw Theodore walking towards him, beaming. "Let me in," Julian shouted, attracting everyone's attention. But Theodore ignored him, instead instructing staff to distribute wedding candies to everyone. Those who received candy congratulated the newlyweds on a happy union. Everyone got some, except Julian. He gritted his teeth so hard they might break. Theodore Ashworth, you took advantage of the situation. Theodore merely glanced at him dismissively. You didn't cherish her yourself, so you will never have another chance. 27, my wedding with Theodore was trending online for 3 whole days. But on our wedding night, nothing happened, because we were genuinely exhausted. Theodore told me about Julian showing up. I thought about it, since the wedding was over. It was time to deal with him. Online, I was an academic blogger with 2 million followers. When Julian was pursuing me, I had documented some of it. But after we got together, because he didn't want to go public, I hadn't shared anything. My followers knew a guy had pursued me for a long time, but they didn't know who specifically. So I posted our wedding photos on my account. Fans were shocked. They hadn't expected me, an academic blogger, to be the trending topic heroine. Then I posted the chat logs and ambiguous photos of Julian and Autumn, and her provocative voice messages. To protect privacy, I redacted identifying information and added a caption, "Not familiar with a certain someone. Please act respectfully." The Hong Kong media smelled blood and swarmed. Although I didn't explicitly name Julian, all the details pointed to him, especially since he tried to crash the wedding but couldn't produce any proof. The Hong Kong media published several explosive headlines. Lovesick fool kneels, Sterling heir tries to steal bride. Begs pathetically for love, delusional lover, ultimate simp Julian Sterling crashes, Theodore Ashworth's wedding. The comment sections were filled with curses. WTF, that lovesick fool is Julian Sterling. Am I seeing things? Chased her for 5 years, then tried to crash the wedding. Is he nuts? Like a clown, so disgusting. Having an inappropriate relationship with his adopted sister and still trying to chase someone else. The blogger must have done something terrible in a past life to be liked by him. Don't just blame the guy. That Autumn isn't innocent either, seducing her own brother. If I were Julian's mom, I'd have a heart attack. Exactly, the key is she saw her brother liked another girl and sent provocative messages. Utterly disgusting. I wondered how the Sterling parents would react knowing about the inappropriate relationship between their adopted daughter and their son. Didn't Julian want to make me and my brother a laughingstock? Now, he and Autumn were the laughingstock. The shame, it was all theirs. Public opinion continued to ferment. The Sterling family couldn't suppress it, no matter how hard they tried. I asked Theodore, "Was that you?" He nodded, his tone calm. "Yes." I couldn't help laughing. "You're quite cunning." He raised an eyebrow, a corner of his mouth lifting. "He deserves it." 28, my brother finally found out about everything and said irritably, "Why didn't you tell me? I'll go kill him." With time having passed, I laid everything bare. He was silent for a moment. I thought he was going to yell at me. Instead, he frowned. "Autumn confessed to me. He took revenge on me for her." "But who is Autumn?" I suddenly burst out laughing. My brother looked completely lost. "Bro was so handsome back then, too many people confessed. Who remembers her? Julian Sterling hates me. Do I even know him?" Turns out, Julian and Autumn wanted revenge on my brother, but my brother didn't even remember these 2 people existed. How absurd and laughable, but mentioning it jogged his memory. That scumbag, he dared to bully my sister. He won't have an easy time in North City from now on. He immediately made several calls. From now on, refuse all cooperation with the Sterling family. All their projects, use every means to snatch them away. Let him truly see what a sworn enemy looks like, oh boy. Now Julian had really shot himself in the foot. 29, before the semester started, I took Theodore back to North City for a visit. We also met up with some friends. Midway through, I went to the terrace for some air, and unexpectedly saw Julian again. During this time, I heard the Sterling family wasn't doing well. Their stock price kept falling, the family was in turmoil, and they even dissolved the adoption relationship with Autumn, issuing a statement that their former adopted daughter would not be allowed to marry into the family. Autumn schemed endlessly, only to end up with nothing. And the projects Julian was responsible for faced partnership refusals from many companies due to the negative publicity. I also heard he got beaten up by masked assailants. The day he got beaten, my brother whistled while calling me 800 times, just chuckling without saying much. Seeing Julian's haggard and pale face now, all I could say was he deserved it. But he walked towards me, the corners of his eyes tinged red. "I didn't know Autumn would provoke you like that. I'm sorry." I disappointed you during that time, I'm sorry. But Scarlett, nothing ever happened between her and me. Is it really unforgivable? I glanced at him. Julian, while you loved her, you pursued me. After getting together with me, you couldn't let her go. In the end, like her, you'll end up holding on to nothing. His lips trembled. He pointed to his heart. Right now, I only steadfastly love you. I spoke calmly. If Autumn came back to you, would you take her back? He shook his head painfully. No, never, I curled my lip. Then I'm the same as you. You come looking for me, but I won't go back either. I think you should understand how I feel now, right? You don't want to continue a mistaken relationship, so it's impossible for me to choose to walk towards you again. Tears slowly rolled down his cheeks. But during those 5 years I liked you, I was truly sincere. Why did you have to retaliate, ruin my reputation? I looked at him, my eyes cold. Because I overheard your conversation with someone else. From the moment you started pursuing me, it was a scam. Can a liar have genuine feelings? You were even going to humiliate me at your birthday party. I merely gave you a taste of your own medicine. Why can't you take it? He was utterly shocked, stammering for a long moment before laughing bitterly. So this is what it feels like to be tricked and retaliated against by the person you love. He looked up again, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. You wanted to humiliate me so badly. Does that mean you still care about me? Scarlett, do I still have a chance? I held up the ring on my hand. The whole world knows I'm married. I will never get divorced. Later, Julian searched through all the trash cans, trying to find the gift I threw away that day, the one I had meant for him. He actually found it. It was preserved flowers I had made by hand. Now dilapidated, I took it from him and threw it into the rushing river. Then I walked past him, towards Theodore. Flowers turn towards the sun, and people move forward. Time repeats itself. I was going to embrace the next sunny day with the person beside me.